member in the editorial board for Master of Health Sciences under Distance in Annamalai University. And he is external observer for the diabetic course conducted by PHFI New Delhi. His current works are nutritional status of under 5 children in a tribal area in Tamil Nadu, depression among geriatric population, lifestyle diseases among self-help group in Tamil Nadu, complications of type 2 diabetes mellitus among patients attending primary health care. With this brief note, I would like to call Dr. M. Logaraj to deliver his talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam, for the introduction. I like to share my screen.
Yes, sir.
Make me host, madam, to share my screen. You have to make me co-host. Are you able to see my slides, madam? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, sir. So this session going to be the best practice in swachhata, personal, physical, environmental, societal. So even though these are the best practices, I am going to talk on what not to do lead to best practices in terms of personal hygiene, physical, environmental, and societal. And based on that, my session, you can help educate the other public on the best practices. So if you go into the goals of swachhata, the first goal is the institutionalized cleanliness. So the cleanliness should start from our campus. For example, our SRM IST campus. Once we are clean, then we can educate other public. We have adopted many villages where we can insist them. We can also ask them, take them to our campus, see our cleanliness, how we maintain the cleanliness. That's way we can health educate other village members on about the cleanliness. So first the change should come from us, and then we can expect the swachhata movement to a block level and to a district level, state level, and can expand to the country level. And that can be the model of environmental consistency. So in that goal, we have to think upon the sustainable development goal also related to good health and well-being, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities. So I'm going to touch upon some of the aspects of the goals of swachhata. The first being the personal hygiene. The personal hygiene has been insisted right from ancient times. You can see Kandai Analum Pasaki Kattu, Kud Analum Kulittu Kudi. That was the ancient people that we have insisted on that, about the personal hygiene. So without taking bath, don't take food. That's what if they ask this, without taking bath, don't take food. It also includes the brushing your teeth, going to the toilet, all those things completely. Suttam soru podum. That's other saying, Padamuri in Tamil days. How this Suttam soru podum? If you are hygienic, you'll be healthy. So many of them say that health is wealth. The health is more important. The personal hygiene is more important. So these are 6 things that one can to maintain the personal hygiene. So in olden days, even you can see in cinemas, if the family head goes out, go to the field and then come back, and they give water, the sombla thanni kudupanga actually. So before he enters into the house, where he washes his hands, legs, all those things. So that was practiced earlier also. But now, as we are practicing now, we go outside, we visit some malls, we go to the college, we go to the schools, we touch many places, and then when to come to the house, many of them, whether they practice the hand washing. So when you go out and come back, you have to wash your legs, wash your hands. The washing hands is more important because the hands carry the plenty of organism. So that's why the COVID-19 has occurred. So you would have touched a person, you would have traveled in a bus, you would have touched the handles. You have to go to a mall, you have under the handles. All this handles, everything. The virus lives for maybe 1 or 2 days. The person sneezes, a cough, with closed hands, and then it touches the door handle, then it stays there. And subsequently, you touches, then you will take this microorganism or the virus, coronavirus, in your hands. If you don't practice, so the best practice is one has to practice. Whenever you go out, come back, wash your hands. That is more important. The second important is going to toilet and coming back. After every toilet, if you go to toilet, you have to wash your hands because our system is something different. In Western countries, they use a toilet paper, but we use our hands, usually left hand, to wash our hands. And many of them, they don't pair with their nails. If they have the nails, in between the nails, the remnants of the species can be there. So that's why we insist that the one of the common organism that is transmitted through this is E. coli. So this E. coli will causes diarrhea. So after toilet, one of the other practice you have to place after toilet, you have to wash your hands with soap and water. So and wash your hands when you come back from outside. Wash your hands after going to toilet. Of course, other things, brush your teeth twice a daily and take bath daily, because if you don't take bath daily, then it can lead to some of the skin diseases. Many of the skin diseases are if you are not hygienic, even the abscess and the hair follicles. No, there are many hair follicles. If they get obstructed, subsequently infected, and you get boils, all those things because of this uncleanliness. So the personal hygiene is more important, and by way of this, we can practice. The other important aspect that you should know is one of the enemy, you can say the enemy of, apart from the mosquito, the other enemy of humankind is the housefly. So we have in the campus, there are many restaurants. You can have this Java Green. There are many shops. When you visit the shops, you should not see any single housefly. If you see a single housefly, then it is an incantation. So when we want to best practice, when you want to take on to confirm that the food that you take are hygienic, flies should not be there. You know, the flies will carry 2 dozen of diseases. So it can carry malaria, it can carry cholera, yes. It can carry typhoid, yes. It can carry the dysentery disease, yes. It can carry jaundice causing the diseases, yes. So 12 dozen of diseases it can cause, because the habit of housefly is it can sit on the filth as well as on the food. So when it sits on the filth, it carry all this microorganism over the body, wings, all those things. And when it sits over the food, all this is transmitted mechanically there. The other important aspect is the housefly has a constant habit of vomiting and defecating. Defecating motion போயிட்டே இருக்கும். So அவங்க filth சாப்பிட்டோம், அப்புறம் இங்க வந்து vomit பண்ணும். So it sits over the laddu. It cannot take solid food. Remember, this fly cannot take solid food. So it just vomits on the solid food, makes a solution of it, and then it sucks the liquid. So assume if it vomits on the food which it stands, it may be a fruit, it may be any food stuff that is inside the campus also. So it vomits, and the vomit contains microorganism, ova, cyst, all those things which causes many diseases. So that's why we should, when you part of such students, when you visit, please ensure that none of the stall in the green Java green is free from should be free from houseflies. So if it is free from houseflies, then you can ensure that the food that you are taking may be hygienic. The next is safe water. So we should insist on safe water because waterborne diseases is an important factor which leads to many waterborne diseases. Most of the diarrheal diseases like cholera, other rotaviral diseases, dysentery, diarrhea, all those are due to the unsafe water. So ensure that you take a safe, wholesome water. So this is the 2011 census. Around 68 million people live in slums in India. 34% have no toilet at their homes, and 63% own mobile phones. So equally, the number of 63 million, 63% of them own mobile phones. They own mobile phones, but they don't have toilets. 43% have open drainage in slums. Around 1,88,500 tons of waste generated in India per day. 68.8 million tons of waste generated by India per year. And 8,500 tons of waste generated by Delhi. And 0.2 to 0.6 kg garbage generated per head per day. This is the situation in urban slums. So educating urban slums is more important. Now you know what is actually the magnitude of problem existing in urban slums. What Thiruvalluvar said is Purandumai Neeran Amayum, Aganthumai Vaimayal Kanapuru. So Purandumai, in olden days, they said Purandumai Neeran Amayum. So the water itself cleans our environment. But man now, they pollute that water also by means of disposing the plastics, disposing the waste from the industries, and open air defecations. All this makes the water bodies polluted. You can see here the people doing open air defecation. As I said before, this open air defecation, the stool contains most of microorganisms, which is responsible for most of diarrheal diseases. Another important aspect when they go for open air defecation is called hookworm infection. The most common 60% to 80% of the people, especially the females, are anemic. And in case of males, 60% are anemic. That means Ratta Sogain Sulvan. 60% of our population are anemic. Why? Because they go for open air defecation. If they go for open air defecation, the hookworm larva, it resides in the grass blades. And this larva enters through the ankle of the foot. Called the ankle of the foot. It enters, it goes to the lung, and from lung again it enters the intestine, and where it multiplies. And a single worm takes 0.02 ml of blood. You can assume if there are millions of worms in the intestine, how much of blood is lost, and the patient will naturally land on anemia. So to prevent this, so we have to insist the use of sanitary latrine. The sanitary latrine is the only solution to prevent the hookworm infection and to reduce the magnitude of anemia problem in India. The only solution, the permanent solution, if you want to reduce, if you, the iron and folic acid supplementation will not solve the purpose, or deworming tablets will not solve the purpose, because after 3 months again the person will be reinfected if you go for the open air defecation. So the repeated infection, repeated anemia. But the permanent solution for this is the use of sanitary latrine. So that is the best practice to prevent waterborne diseases and also prevent anemia and the malnutrition among underfed children because of Not only this, it can lead to other worm infestations and it can lead to malnutrition. And malnutrition will lead to susceptible to many infections. All infections, we have an acute respiratory infection, more common in children. This is because of malnutrition. So we have to protect our water. It's more important. And we have also have many guidelines has been given by World Health Organization when the Indian government has given water quality standards, the chemical standards, bacteriological standards, all those things. And we have Water Prevention Control Pollution Act 1974, National Water Supply and Sanitation Program started 1954. And then this program was renamed in 1990, 99, I think so, as Rural Sanitation Campaign, which ensures that the people in rural area get wholesome water and they get to avoid open nitrification. The next is we are polluting with plastics, so no plastics. You can see here from this how the plastics are dumped over, and these plastics after a rain they are ultimately goes to the ocean. So it also affects the fish population. And also many of the industries, they've sent the effluent into adjacent lakes, rivers without adequate treatment, which also pollute our water, which has to be polluted. So to protect our land, we have to practice green initiative. So of course, our campus is more greenery, and then segregation of to prevent the land pollution. We have to segregate all the waste into degradable, non-degradable waste, and degradable waste can be made into manure, which can be used as as an organic manure. So these are the two photographs I have taken from this, such the guidelines where they insist on the go green institutions, and then use of bicycles instead of other motorbikes, others for going around the institutions. So which prevents the use of the automobiles, the two-wheelers, which can increase the air pollution. I will tell you what are the implications of air pollution. So you can see the air pollution for burning the fossil fuel, the exhaust from the industry, the exhaust from automobiles, all those causes the environment global warming, because all this emits carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. You know this, the earth is protected by greenhouse gas. If there is no greenhouse gas, hello, so if there is no greenhouse gas on the earth, the temperature on the earth will goes to -degree. So there should be some amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. So these greenhouse gases allows the light waves to pass through and prevents the heat waves to escape into the atmosphere. In that way, the warmth is maintained in the earth. If more and more carbon dioxide accumulates, this carbon dioxide greenhouse gas will retain more and more, and it leads to global warming. Because this global warming is very disastrous to the earth. So you might have studied in newspapers a couple of weeks that another 50 years, even 50 years, even the Chennai may be submerged in the ocean, submerged in the water. Most of the London may be submerged in water. Most of the other cities which are in the coastal regions may submerge because of the global warming. The Antarctic and Arctic, the ice will melt in that kind of stuff. So we have to find out the best practice to prevent this air pollution, use of alternate energy, like use of battery operated or electric cars, which prevents the emission of the greenhouse gases. Of course, we have acts. There are so many conferences has been noted by many industries, many countries. In India, we have Air Act, which prevents the norms from the effluent from the industry. We are monitoring the air pollution. There's some monitoring for national air quality, national air quality program. We started this program in 1990. The kind of important is the responding to disaster. So we have, for example, toxins accumulated here. Sorry. So next is regarding the vaccinations. We have to, I don't know, it's moving. We have to protect our population by immunization. Very important. For example, most of the under 5 children's, the diseases are vaccine preventable. So we have a program for this, the universal immunization program, where we protect our children against the vaccine preventable like polio, tuberculosis, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, measles, and of course, we are now giving COVID vaccine, the two forms of COVID vaccine also to prevent COVID-19, but need to vaccinate our children. So we have vector-borne disease control programs, national anti-malarial program, national malaria control program, national leprosy eradication program, tuberculosis control program, and national AIDS control program. So then the next is to promote good nutrition. So most of our people take junk foods. So junk foods may cause so many the obesity. One of the common cause for obesity among the youngsters is use of junk foods. They started ordering food from many of the fast foods. We do not know what they mix, what they are adding inside, and definitely this is going to be disastrous for the younger generation. If you start ordering food from outside and take that foods, then there is greater chance why you don't know what are the chemicals they add, what are the preservatives they add, and later they can land on colonic cancer, stomach cancer, all those things. Because some of them they use pesticides for preservative. For example, what you drink as Coca-Cola, other soft drinks, they put preservatives as pesticides. Even though that's with some of them say they are at the limited level, but there's a chance definitely they can lead to stomach colonic cancer because of pesticide use. Of course, you have to promote exercise from the younger stage. The exercise, I don't know why it's changing. The exercise is more important aspect. At least 30 minutes a day, one person has to do exercise. The last one is behavioral change. The behavioral change is more important aspect. And unless the people behavior changes, you cannot change. This is attitude. The ultimate health education giving to the population is a behavioral change. So you educate a person to not to smoke, not to drink, but ultimately he has to change. The behavior change has to come. So behavior change is the most important aspect to see environmental clean environment should come from the us and promote adequate and safe housing. And the same is also promote adequate communities. So you might have seen Chennai. Chennai is expanding. The Chennai is expanding like anything. There is no norms. There is no model. There is no guidelines. We expand. So you know that in India, you can construct a house without a water connection, with an underground drainage connection. That's why you might have seen when the last 2015, when there's a flood, Those are the West Tambaram, the west of Mudichur, all those things. They submerge in water because those constructions not guidelines. If you go to the other countries, developed countries, the first thing they ask is, do you have a water connection? Do you have a sewage connection? If these two connections are not there, you cannot construct a house. So it is a planned cities. They're happening, the expansion of cities are happening in a planned way. But in India, the cities, the expansion of cities is not unplanned, then they can construct anyway. And if you can construct a septic tank, and there is no guidelines. So that is the exam concern about adverse health effects of urban sprawls. Urban sprawl is nothing but expansion of urbans without any norms and guidelines. So of course, we have to educate, inform, educate, and empower people about health issues. The last one is the mobilized community participation, identify and solve health problems. So this is very much lacking in India. The community participation is very much lacking. For example, India has introduced most of the national health programs right from 1960s, control of tuberculosis. Still the tuberculosis is a problem. We have very effective drugs for treating tuberculosis. And for example, under Swachhata program, they are giving subsidized rate to construct sanitary latrine. Even then, we are not able to achieve 100% free of open air defecation. So unless there is a community participation, we cannot achieve anything. To achieve this, we have to develop a strong policies and enforce law and regulations that protect the health and ensure the safety of people. The last one, be a change you wish to see the world. So what the change should come from us, from individual. An individual in the family changes, the family changes. In the family changes, the people in that street changes, and ultimately the village and the broader change comes. And the change should come from us. Thank you. Any questions I can take, actually. It has been a short notice I have prepared yesterday night only.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Any questions I can answer, sir? So any questions, sir?
See, I think no questions from the participant side.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for creating this awareness program.
So please inform, one question, please inform me in advance, madam, so that I can prepare and come forward.
Okay,
sir. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for creating this awareness program about Swachhata and sharing your valuable insights about maintaining the health environment. I extend my thanks to all the participants who have joined the Day 7 event of Swachhata Pakwada 21. Thank you. Thank you, sir.